If you open your Lofty database and you have no idea where to start or who to call first, or worse, you don't even open your database because you know what mess is waiting on the inside for you, then this is a video just for you. I'm going to share a couple quick tips on how our team has successfully utilized tags within Lofty to help us organize our database and make follow up a lot easier. So, most agents are treating their database, any database, but we're specifically going to talk about Lofty. Most agents are treating it like a dumping ground for everyone that they meet. When we first get into real estate, one of the first things that we learn is to enter everyone you know into your database or your CRM. And I think just using the term CRM is kind of our first mistake into where we're getting off track because everybody just talks about a CRM, a CRM. We kind of forget that CRM actually stands for customer relationship management. And in real estate, this is a business that is all about creating and maintaining relationships with the people that we know. So we need to get away from using our database as just a data collector, and let's get back to using it like a relationship manager, or what it actually is. So, having a full database of everyone that you know and leads that are coming into your business, if it is full and overwhelming for you, it's exactly the same as having an empty database. So let's talk a little bit about like why do our databases turn into a dumping ground, dumpster fire mess to begin with? And as we are working and we have all the things to do, like I said, we kind of use this as just a dumping ground to put everyone into one place. And we have the people that we know, our friends and our family and our neighbors and the people that we meet in our community, and they are going into the same place as leads that are reaching out from social media, maybe our online ads, maybe you buy leads from Zillow or another platform like that, but everyone is going all into the same place. And if you're a real estate team, there's a couple segments of your database as well. There's actual people, and then there's actual pond leads as well, where a lot of leads just go. So everyone is going into the database and there's nothing differentiating them and they all look the same. So when we open it up, it's just a hodgepodge of people that might be past clients, people that are currently under contract, leads that just came in, your neighbor from across the street. So, what we need to do is get things organized a little bit more so that we're not just reaching out to the people that are coming and that we're remembering from top of mind, but we're actually reaching out to the people who are most likely to make a real estate decision, or the people most likely that we need to keep in contact with and follow up with. So there's two ways that we can do this in Lofty. So first you have your source, and Lofty will track this for you. Or you enter it if you're manually entering a person that you met, or if you have leads that are coming from offline and going through an automatic lead rotation, Lofty will track that source for you. Okay, but a source tells us how a person came into our database. Either they came from social media, and you might have that broken down into like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. So it tells us how they came in, or they might be Sphere. They might be from an open house. They might be from door knocking. That tells us how they came into our world, but it doesn't really tell us anything about them and gives us a little bit more detail. So what we use is tags that tell us why we know this person, something more about them, and how we can make our follow up a little bit more organized by searching through tags. So with the source and with the tag, they give us a fuller picture of who this person is in our database. And if you layer that with a third step, of customized pipelines, which I've talked about in another video on our channel. Those three things will build you a pipeline of people to communicate with versus just a hodgepodge of people. And you're just trying to go down the list, and this person doesn't need follow up and this one does. And oh gosh, yeah, I remember that open house lead. So utilizing those three layers of Lofty will give you a really great system that you can use for follow-up. So in this video, we're mainly talking about the tags, and these are tags that you can create. You have full control over the tags and what they are. Now, I'm going to share with you some really helpful tags that we have in our Lofty database. But I don't want you to just copy what we have just because it's what we use. I want you to slow down and really think, like, how do you, as a real estate agent, or how does your team stay in flow and stay in contact with the people that are in your database? Maybe they're leads, maybe it's your sphere, maybe it's past customers, maybe it's current customers. But what are some of the things that your team or you as an agent do that's really important? Or do you have like a really strong lead source that feeds into your database frequently? So, not just Sphere. Sphere is really broad. It encompasses our friends, it encompasses our family, and it encompasses just what we do in our daily lives and how we meet people. So we need to take Sphere, which is a great source, right? We want to track if business is coming from our Sphere so that we know we're getting a return on that investment. But my neighbor who is in my sphere isn't the same as somebody who I meet socially. My daughter dances, and I have a lot of friends that are dance moms. So that in particular would be a tag that I would use in my business just because a lot of people that I know in my database, they're my sphere, but it tells me a little bit more if I tag them as a dance mom. So some other tags that would be useful if you have a farm, a geographical farm, putting the name of that neighborhood as a tag so that you can quickly find all of those people that are in your database from that farm. If church is big in your life and you have a lot of relationships from church, church tag might be one. If you're involved in your kids' school, PTA. If you have any social networks, like if you drive a Jeep, like the Jeep community is strong. So maybe if you're going to Jeep meetups, maybe that's a place where you're meeting people. So while they are your sphere, giving them that tag tells a little bit more about that person and how you can communicate and follow up with them better, not just a blanket of sphere so that they're blending in with all of these other aspects of your life. We want to segment them off to make it easier to follow up with. We also have, so tags that we use, I gave you a couple. Tags that we use, we also have events. Our team is very big on events. We do some small events throughout the year, which we call pop-up events. We do a couple large events throughout the year, but not everybody in our database is getting invited to our events. A cold lead that came in from a Facebook ad, that's not necessarily a person that we would invite to an event, but somebody who bought a home with our team and closed last year, that's definitely somebody that we're going to invite to an event. So we have a event tag in our database. We also have a newsletter tag. So again, if you have a newsletter that you use to follow up and communicate with people in your database, highly recommend a newsletter tag so that you can quickly filter through the people who receive your newsletter, and it's much easier for you to send them out that way. So we have events, we have newsletter, we have community guides. So we know that there are certain people who have opted in for our community guide. Closed so that we can quickly filter for closed business in our database is another one. We have, we do a Mother's Day event every year. So if somebody in our database is a mom, we tag them as mom so that we can quickly filter through to communicate with the moms who are in our database, mainly to invite them to our Mother's Day event that we do every single year. A really important one that we have, and this is just language that we use within our team, but probably the most important tag in our database, we call it a silver platter tag. And these are high intent leads, inbound leads that have reached out to us that we have communicated and built some rapport with. So our hot leads, just what we say on our team is silver platter because it's a lead on a silver platter. So I'm going to do another video about how we manage our team's follow-up and accountability, and silver platter tag is going to become very important in that future video. So stay tuned for that one. But some other tags that you may want to use if you do pop buys to follow up with the people in your database, your past customers or your sphere or your neighbors, a pop buy tag might be really easy to help filter and segment that out in your database as well. If you follow up with people on their home anniversaries, and you may want to use the months as tags for that so that you can quickly filter, like, okay, right now, as I'm filming this, it's July. I would pull up my July filter, and those are all the people that I need to follow up with in July. So just another option. That's not something we use, but it might be something that you do in your business. And adding that tag will make it really easy for you to pop into your database and know exactly who you need to follow up with. So just a few like other examples there that you can share. So another tag, actually, I'm going to hop into our Lofty and show you where these tags are and how to add the tags. You can take tags off if somebody moves away and they're no longer going to be attending your in-person events. But just to share really quickly, this is our Lofty and it's just some sample leads. But if you're in here, and you open your leads profile, you can see over here all of these tags. Now, if I want to get rid of some of them, I can just quickly X and they go away. But you can see like here is a silver platter. I know that that's a lead I definitely need to follow up with closely because they would be a hot lead for us. If you just want to call it hot lead, you can. Silver platter, like I said, is just the term that we use internally within our team. All right, this one you can see. So this would be a dance mom. So say I want to communicate with my dance moms. I can just pull up a filter. We can go back to that and I can show you. So if I want to communicate just with my dance moms, I can come over here. So we're over here in the filter section, filters. Maybe I want to get all of my dance moms together for coffee and just have some FaceTime together. So I would search right here, dance, and you can see dance mom will pop up. I'm going to check it. And then here's my dance mom. So I can quickly just call them. I could send them if I wanted to select them all. I could quickly send them a mass email, or I could send them all a mass text like, hey ladies, would you like to grab coffee next week? So it makes it really easy for me to filter through my database to find the people that I'm looking for. So let's go back to Kelly testing. And here's that original list that we had. So we can see a few others. So you can see here, like we've got our neighborhood guide, we've got our newsletter opt-in. I know this is a silver platter. So this gives me a really good picture of this lead. I know that they've received our community guide. We're sending our newsletter to them to follow up. And then also they were a hot lead that we have some rapport in. So this is somebody that I want to keep communicating with on a regular basis. Again, the pipeline tells me agreement signed. So this is a person who is actively going to buy and I need to be following up with them often. So having not just the source, but also the tags and then the pipeline stage gives me a full picture of who this lead is and how frequently I should be following and communicating with them, following up with and communicating. So going back, we've talked about some of the tags, and we want to put the tags in place for the people that we need to find and filter easily. So, like we've said, we've had the events, we've had moms, we have um, oh, another option that you may want to include that I didn't say. In a previous lifetime, I was a teacher. So we have a teacher tag. We did an event one time. And so it's easy for us to filter and find all of our teachers. So, if you have like a service based and hometown heroes would apply, I would quickly pull up all of my teachers and just send all of them a quick message like, hey, did you hear hometown heroes is back? Not sure if it's applicable to you, but if you know anybody else that this would be helpful for, feel free to pass it along, and have them reach out with any questions. So, a really quick and easy way to organize and know who you need to communicate with. Another tag, if you are doing Facebook ads for listings or any kind of social media sharing of listings, we have tags for our property addresses. Why is that helpful? Let me share again. I have a sample lead in here where one of them has a few property addresses. Here we go. So if you can see over here, I've got a tag with a few addresses on it. When I pull up a lead, especially if it's one that's going to our pond because they're opting in to different listings that we're sharing on social media, I can see, oh my goodness, like this person has opted in on 3 of those. They're probably really serious about buying a home. And I find no details about the homes that they opted in for. It can kind of give me information on what exactly they're looking for. Maybe I know something that's coming off market and I can reach out to them. So this just gives me a better, again, the tags tell us more about this person. The source tells us how they come in, but the tags tell us who this person is and what they're really looking for. So, what we can do, like I said, we've got the newsletter that goes out to people. Um, and I pull that up monthly. So we want to be able to find those people quickly. So what you can do if you are going to use a filter over and over again, maybe you're sending things out to your farm, and your neighborhood is in there as a tag. If it's a tag that you're searching frequently, you probably want to hop in and create a custom view. And that's just like a saved filter if you use it over and over again. So, what I have here, if I search more, you can see I've got customer newsletter as a saved filter, a custom filter, and I can pull that up. And then everyone who's receiving our newsletter filters in. And I'll do another video on templates, but you can just quickly select everyone, and then you're going to send a mass email. Your newsletter template is in there, and boom, you're done. Everybody just received your either weekly or monthly newsletter, quarterly, however you're sending it often. But you can see how easy having the saved filter made it. So if I wanted to create a saved filter for my dance moms, because I'm going to follow up with them frequently, I can just go over here. I'm going to build it once, and then it's going to be here forever for me. So tag, include, and again, Dance Mom is right there. I love this new feature where the most used ones are popping up frequently. And what I can do, once I search it, it'll say create view. And then I can just name it Dance Moms. Whoops. And when I save that, it will now pop up in that drop down menu where it's really easy for me to just go in and find and filter, and send specific segments of my database communication on a regular basis. Maybe I get together with them every month. It's time to schedule something. I'm going to go to my Dance Mom filter, and then I can communicate really easily. Now, I've showed you, say you want to create a new filter, a new tag, you can just click the plus sign. You can just tag it in here. Maybe you want to create a filter for church, and you're just going to create it right here. And then click. And then now all of a sudden that new tag has been added. So super easy to add new tags, especially if you are working from an administrative account. If you are a team leader, and the agents on your team need a tag, they're not necessarily able to create their own unless you give them the permission. So you might have to go in and create one for them that they can use. But that kind of leads into here's the biggest mistake that I'm seeing with tags, and kind of why I was a little hesitant to share our specific ones if it's maybe not how you run your business. The biggest mistake that I see with tags is people creating a tag for every single thing possible. We don't have a million tags in our business. We only have the ones that are most important to us and that actually make our follow up easier. So, events, newsletter, and then specific addresses, that's easy to filter by. Maybe it goes off the market, comes back on. We need to send everyone who opted in on that one a quick message. But events, newsletter, and like moms, neighborhood farms, those things like that. We don't have a ton because the biggest mistake is creating way too many tags that you don't use, or you only have like one person who has that tag. So that's why really think carefully about through your business and what are the most important ways that you follow up with the people in your database, and what do you need to filter by the most? Like, what are you constantly looking for in your database, and creating a tag that will help you with that follow up? Because the biggest mistake, if you create way too many tags, it's just like having way too many unorganized leads in your database. You won't utilize them and it won't be helpful for you. So before you start just creating tags left and right and all over the place, really stop and pause and think, what are the most popular segments of my database that I'm looking for on a regular basis? And just start with those tags, like 3 to 5. And then as things naturally occur in your business and you're like, gosh, I've looked that up like several times, probably going to go ahead and create a tag for it. Maybe you decide to join the PTA and you meet several people from that aspect, then it would be time to add a PTA tag. So I hope that utilizing tags and how to create them and how to create the custom filters for your tags was helpful for you. If you have more questions about Lofty in general or how to utilize tags, feel free to drop a comment here or head over to Instagram and send us a DM. The Instagram account is at the Josh and Kelly, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.